Tri-Township School Corporation meeting. We'll start the meeting with pledge of allegiance.
The budget work session.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we'll start this evening with an open budget work session. So I ask for a motion by the board to open the work session.
I'll make a motion to open the budget work session. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you. I have a brief outline of our 23 proposed TTCS budget that Mr. Ritchie and I worked on together. Our education fund proposed for 2023 is $1,645,500. That will be $66,500 above what was proposed last budget cycle. Obviously, that will be contingent upon ADM growth. That's a conservative budget on our ADM count. The operations fund is at $2,365,700, and that would be $27,100 higher than the current 2022 approved budget. Reminder that the capital projects and bus replacement plans are budgeted within the operations fund. We have a capital projects plan that is set up for roof projects in our future. And then the bus replacement plan is budgeted for the purchase of one full-size bus. In our debt service fund is being proposed for a total of $331,057. This amount is being budgeted to pay for the following debt payments: the 2014 lease rental payment of $230,000 and the new 21 lease rental of $95,000. Any questions on those sections? The rainy day fund, Mr. Ritchie and I, we will be next month doing a 2022 appropriation reduction of $510,200 with rainy day, so that we can appropriate that amount in 2023. That will leave us $100,000 there if by chance we need to do something with that here in 22. The tax rates this year, the 22 adopted tax rate in the debt service fund was about 15.5 cents. And we are advertising for 23, 19.2. And then the operations fund, the adopted for 22 was just a shade under 58 cents. And we are advertising for 69 cents for 23. Now again, the levy will be what the levy is. Okay, so Mr. Ritchie did a good job preparing the budget for us. Budget meeting dates: September 13th, 2022, 6 p.m. A public hearing held by our board, and then adoption on September 27th. Both meetings will be here, and so if there aren't any questions, I need a motion to approve and advertise and post the 23 budget, both on our website and through the DLGF Gateway site.
I'll make a motion to approve that, to place it on our websites.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Make a motion to close the budget work session. Do you have a second by the
I'll
board?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve. Now we'll go ahead and start with the regularly scheduled board meeting. And we'll start with the minutes from the July board meeting. I ask the motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the July board meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Who was the second here?
Me.
Chad.
Thank you.
Next would be our personnel items this evening.
First, on our personnel items, Gail Allen is coming back to us to drive the bus. Need approval?
I'll abstain from this vote.
Motion approved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Next, Tricia Wozniak as our accounts receivable, accounts payable. Approval to, as Mr. Ritchie has retired, and this will be your last epic Mr. Ritchie claim docket tonight. And then I've asked our treasurer and that department to start paring it down a little bit, make it more user friendly.
Did you put the savings in our office supply budget?
Yes, just paper alone.
Yeah, good.
I'll make a motion to approve Tricia Wozniak.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Nay. Whatever. Duly noted. Motion approved by majority.
Thank you. Teresa McCardle, administrative assistant, approval.
I'll make a motion to approve Teresa McCardle.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
We lost our Spanish teacher, Austin Heiss. He's going on to Calder Military Academy. So tough to compete with that.
Yeah.
So approval for his resignation.
I'll make a motion to approve his resignation.
I'll second. Begrudgingly.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Approval for Loudenbecker as the head softball coach.
I'll make a motion to approve Loudon Becker for the head softball coach.
I'll second him.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Duly noted, abstained by Aaron. Motion approved by majority.
All right. Approval for Angela Pryor as the assistant softball coach.
I'll make a motion to approve Angela Pryor for the assistant softball coach.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Christina Porter, middle school volleyball coach.
I'll make a motion to approve Christina Porter for volleyball coach.
I'll second it.
We've got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Hillary Banks as a new elementary teacher.
I'll abstain from voting.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve Hillary Banks as a new elementary school teacher.
Motion.
I'll second it.
Chad, second.
Chad.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved by majority.
Resignation of our art teacher, Devin Rushing.
Motion approved.
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And motion approved.
Our new art teacher is Renee Warren. Renee comes to us from Chesterton.
I'll make a motion to approve Renee Warren as the art teacher.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Resignation, Tori DeCook. That's just a medical reason. We'll just leave it at that.
Motion approved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Devin McCoy, volunteer volleyball coach.
I'll make a motion to approve Devin McCoy as volunteer volleyball coach.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And the last, I put a line there in under personnel items. We had 2 bus drivers who, per Mr. Ritchie's salary schedule that he worked on, it didn't occur to me until just this week that when we put that through, that just left 2 of our drivers, and it was our 2 most veteran drivers, who didn't land on a spot where they got a pay increase. So we wanted to increase them 25 cents. So it states any driver who was grandfathered in on a previous pay schedule gets a minimum 25-cent pay increase. Approval?
That's per hour.
Yes.
Per month.
Yearly.
I just want to clarify for the record. Clarifying for the record.
Big spenders here, you know?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
that.
second.
Do I have a second? Oh,
Yep.
abstain. Abstain by Aaron.
That was everything for personnel items.
Do I have a motion for approval? All in favor? All in favor?
All-
Aye.
Thank you. I got you. I got you. Sorry. Main docket. Should we read through all this? Main docket.
Line by line. For old time's sake.
Takes like 30 minutes, and my computer needs to change all the pages to the right.
We did have the 3 payrolls in July there, so balloons the monthly number up a good portion.
I'm gonna abstain also.
Okay.
Any questions by the board on the main docket?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the claim docket.
I'll second.
Aaron has abstained. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved by majority. Now we're moving on to the balance sheet. My goodness. Balance sheets. Any questions by the board on the balance sheet? Okay, we'll continue moving on to public comments then. Are there any public comments this evening?
I have one. And it's just a comment because it's too late to do anything about it. I'm against your accounts payable and receivable person. I feel that she's not qualified. I feel that she's not necessary. I feel that you're padding the payroll with relatives again after many times, and she was in the kitchen. How does that qualify her for an accounts payable? I was an accounts payable person. How does that, you know?
Thank you for your comment.
Okay, couple things. On the veteran drivers, you said that the minimum is 25-cent pay increase, and then you clarified that it's per hour. I'm curious how you came about with that 25 cents amount, and then if that is a minimum, what is the maximum, and what circumstances would warrant more than 25 cents per hour?
I can tell you that the maximum that went to a driver based on where they were with years of experience, and then moving on to Mr. Ritchie's new pay schedule going forward was 60 cents.
Okay, so these 2 drivers, there's the potential that one or both might actually get more than 25 cents per hour.
No, those 2 drivers are getting 25 cents. on the hour because of where their years of experience were and where Mr. Ritchie built the salary schedule.
Because the way it's stated on here, that's not what it's saying. So I was just kind of curious about that. It left a lot of question in my mind.
Okay,
Because like, if that's the minimum, what's the max and what warrants it going up? And which years of service and experience makes sense, but
that's what it's
it
based on.
leaves a lot to think about. And then as you go down to, I mean, this is our opportunity to say it, correct? Item number 9, when you get there, I'm just curious about the ownership of that sign company.
Okay,
Is it, there's somebody on the board that's related to the ownership?
No.
anybody?
Okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, I just want a clarification, because you know,
Okay.
even though we've been here almost 3 years, I'm still the new kid in the neighborhood, so there's a lot I don't understand about how things work around here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Tom is not even from Wanatah originally, he's from Valparaiso, yeah, there's, as far as I know, there's no family connection anywhere on the board in Tom Steinberg. Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, what sign you doing now?
That
I'm
is
sorry.
going to be, that is the outside, the entryway above the building, the letters. It says Wanatah School right now, we want that to say Tri-Township Schools. A set on the front, a set on the back. That's the bulk of that. Then there's some other signage for inside the building.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to take you down that path, I just thought this was our only time. So the one that was down here at the corner, that's gonna be removed or changed or?
Down here.
The marquee.
The one with the letters that go in it.
The one that's right where somebody might run it over?
Oh, that sign is coming out.
It's just a camera
Yeah.
going in the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not what this work is.
No, this is the main.
No, I'm just like, I didn't
yeah.
mean to go down the path about
That's
signs,
all right.
but
Okay, I follow you.
I
I got
thought
you.
this was our only opportunity to make a comment.
So,
Okay, thank you.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the additional appropriation that you guys are planning for in the future? That 500,000, you guys said that you were moving from rainy day to something else.
we may find out tonight if the board, we're gonna have a presentation on roofing. We've got some roofing needs, so that's one of the main thing we're positioning ourselves for.
And then a question on whether or not you guys plan to go back to doing meetings where they alternate between La Crosse and Wanatah and then 2 in Prairie Township over the summer.
No, we're gonna have all of our meetings here where central office is now located.
Was that a board decision or was that a decision you made?
It's a
Board decision.
board decision with
Okay.
my encouragement. It makes more sense. But based to the biggest degree on accessibility. 3 of our most ardent attendees have a real tough time getting into La Crosse. So it makes the most sense to have it here where we're ADA compliant.
And I made,
You made it every time.
Actually, since you've chosen to centralize the whole corporation and board here, it would, in the long run, make more sense. So if someone from the outside of the community wanted to come, they can find you.
Yeah, well, and another simple fact is that we finally now match our address that was chosen all the way back in 2011.
Okay.
Our central office address has been here since Tri-Township was created, and now the whole thing makes sense.
And then last question, I noticed the pictures are off the wall, probably because of painting. Are you planning on putting them back on or are they staying off?
We are either working towards that or an alternate presentation of sorts. It's something Mr. McMahon and I are kicking around, but yes, they are down currently for painting.
Who gave the okay for the black? That red was supposed to have stayed there. That was Wanatah. Wanatah has lost everything here other than
The
any recognition.
Other than the school being here?
No.
Pardon?
Other than the school being here?
What is there left for Wanatah?
Identifier.
That red was to have stayed there. That was decided a long time ago And I bet you it's in the minutes somewhere, that red was to have stayed there because of the, not only for the pictures. I mean, what history is left? I mean, I'm not from Wanatah, I'm not speaking strictly for myself, but I'm sure there's other people in this town that wanted something left. Come on, Tim.
I didn't even know what the colors were until did you ask the board what colors to paint, Mr.
We did.
Shepherd? I showed up here and I knew what the
That
colors
was, I bet you if someone went back into the minutes, that was, red was to have stayed there.
Okay, well, I didn't. I have not combed over all of the minutes. I didn't know that from now until the end of time, we were supposed to have a red border around this room. Now we don't. It's black, top's white. We think it looks nice. We're shooting for some positivity around here. We'd love for you to come aboard.
Red would have been a positive thing.
Okay.
For the alumni,
Mrs. Irwin, it's a difficult thing for anyone that graduated from Wanatah and La Crosse. But we were trying to build a Tri-Township, a school here, a new school. We are gonna do things in this building that are gonna have La Crosse and Wanatah in it. Now, the red might not be here, but there's gonna be something in here that's gonna have both schools
yeah,
be involved.
all those,
Okay, but we also have to remember, we are trying to build something new for these kids, and they're excited about this.
and
we
you got
have
that,
to
you
keep
got
that
that
excitement
everywhere
going.
else but here. I mean, that's fine for everywhere else, but this was the one thing that's used for local things, events, whatever. And those alumni people have probably grandkids coming here, and they're not going to see that. And that's disgusting to me. Because a long time ago, that was agreed to.
I think when you go back to your minutes, you're gonna find it was discussed when they were putting that mural on the wall. Because I can remember that they were gonna keep this room for alumni and that in the pictures, so they could recognize it was the Wanatah School first.
I'm gonna tell you that I'm not gonna put a whole lot of time in looking through minutes to find a paint color.
I'm just saying.
Well, I know, you're just saying, I'm
I've
just saying.
been here, you know.
We got important things to do for kids, and paint color seems real low level to me. So, we gotta start fresh. Change is hard, clearly change is hard, but we just gotta pick up, carry on, and like I said, I welcome some positive support in any way. But thank you for your comments.
One last thing, we forwarded them pictures to be back in here, people went out and looked at it. And I think part of the heritage of the past, a lot of people don't think about it, they just want to throw away and move on with all fancy and other stuff. But I think your ancestry is one thing that still should be incorporated in regards to how far you change or how far you don't change. I'm not from here, but I had this for 4 years now.
Sure.
And I understand the change, I know you gotta move forward, but I think you need to leave something for, I don't wanna say a reminder, but to let people know what the past was like. In the future, I know we gotta go ahead.
And I think both of you know that I've been a very strong advocate of that as long as I've been on the board, to make sure as we changed and grew as a community that we were adapting to that. So I didn't know what the colors are, but I do know it's important that we preserve that. We try to find a way to accommodate the future, but make sure we're preserving the past. So I'll make sure that I work with administration along with the board to make sure we're trying to find some common ground, because I do know where you're coming from. It's not just you, it's very emotional in this area.
Jan Bailey, for
And
one.
there's a lot of emotions on the topic, and that's always been considered and should continue to be.
Alumni,
So
You
I
might
understand
ultimately
it.
need like some kind of a preservation committee or something, because I keep thinking about the lacrosse alumni. I mean,
Yeah, we need to consider all of
That's
that.
an
it
issue.
wasn't even discussed anywhere that I can think of.
But it hasn't been discussed here that we're just taking it down and, leaving it down either. I just want you to know that, Fiona.
So what?
Just because it's down right now doesn't mean anything. We have not discussed not to put anything up.
this has not been a conversation amongst the board at all. Yeah, I mean, it was something that they're putting tons of blood, sweat, and tears into just to get ready for the school year to start. So there's, as you can see in the hall, there's a lot of things that are still in progress that I definitely am, I'm grateful for your compassion for it because I know how important it is to Wanatah and lacrosse.
But yet there's nothing left.
The school's here.
Yeah, but
Tri-Township School,
It's
Red right
the
there.
school.
I thought Darren's, yeah, that's going too.
Yeah,
There's not red right there. It's imaginary.
I thought, yeah, I mean, I think Darren has a pretty good
He summed it up.
response to what's, I mean, lacrosse doesn't have the school anymore, and we've been through that.
there's
and-
green out there that I see. I
Well,
mean,
the second choice around the bottom here was actually green,
no, black's better.
so.
I
So
understand.
consider yourself lucky
Colors are
that
relative. Red hypes
we went with
one
black.
direction, the kids would be wilder.
surely you have to
That
understand
is
that
too much primary color.
Brian and I
Had
are
it been
spending,
discussed,
we talk all the time, but
I mean.
we're not gonna, that specifically, we're not gonna make everybody happy. Clearly, I've already made one entire town extremely unhappy. And now I walk into the paint issue here that completely unexpected tonight.
Well, I was.
I gotta know where I can-
unexpected because I had
I guess I'm trying to
thoroughly thought
show,
that it would be there.
the point is, we're not gonna make everybody happy. I'm glad you attend our board meetings, so therefore you have a voice to let us know here how unhappy you are. We'll just have to wait to hear from everyone else, I
And I'm
suppose.
sure you will.
I do agree.
Thank you, Fiona.
I don't know about the paint colors, but really should be some way of keeping, old, photos of the classes,
But I mean, I think that,
you know,
like, we
yeah,
haven't
displayed
talked about it
in
this time, but I
lacrosse
think that's
for
was
lacrosse
our
and then here,
intention.
Yeah, we have, Brian has a lot of really good ideas on doing these exact things where it's both alumni, both communities. How can we tie it together, have a fresh, clean, new start, and yet honor both pasts? But we will certainly include the board in those discussions.
Yeah, and I kind of want to surprise people with it too, not just
You,
throw it all out there.
I mean,
So,
just since 2019, since I came, this is, and I know this has been going on before me, this is a very long grieving process for everybody that's attached to schools, whether they've got kids in or not. It's a huge grief process for the community of lacrosse, for a lot of reasons, because it's gonna affect property values if nothing else. It's the number one thing that's coming to my mind. But I appreciate you guys not being dismissive of people's concerns, because grief comes out in a lot of different ways.
I appreciate the sentiment, and I agree with you.
Kelly, wait, Fiona, you did say something that really bothered me. Tricia, she was approved, you realize we didn't just take her from the kitchen into accounting. She has a degree in accounting, that's what she's done for many years prior. So I just don't want you to assume we took somebody out of the kitchen and put them in the accounting
No,
position. And it had nothing to do with Tim.
Her being in the kitchen
Well,
was
I'm not
her
related.
foot in the door,
Yeah,
is what it
she
was.
said something about
She's
that.
relative.
She's a relative, not to me,
No,
not to anybody on the board. She's not
Right.
relative.
Right.
I'd like to say one more thing, then I'm gonna keep quiet. We had almost the same thing we got right here now at Liberty Township. And what happened down there, they had so many people that packed the room that they made a special hallway for everybody that graduated from Liberty High School. And I'm on that wall down there too, my class. But they worked in, if you have anything to do, when we merged with Chesterton to Mr. Landgrave and the laws they passed. I'm going back more than either of you old. But that's the thing they finally made for the alumni of Liberty. They put a hall, because they were gonna fight them tooth and nail. But we'll see what the outcome comes. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Kim. Thank you.
Guys, we're gonna move out. Fred, we're gonna drop the screen and here. Whatever.
Perfect. Thanks for your patience, appreciate it. Thanks for having me out again, Kelly. I was here last April in 2021 to review our whole assessment of the ballasted EPDM roofs on top of the school here. Meaning there were some EPDM roofs that are fully adhered that were updated in the 2017-18, which they're in good shape. There's no need for update, obviously. Usually typically those are a 20-year warranty. I work for Trepco Roofing and Building Maintenance. We're manufactured out of Cleveland, Ohio. I have boots on the ground here as I live in Crown Point, Indiana, and I service in northern Indiana and southwest Michigan areas here. We pretty much help clients from A to Z, on a roofing standpoint, from assessment to delivering specification, and then obviously helping the bid process from A to Z as well. So we'll go ahead and run through here, kind of give you an update of where we were last time, and then where we're at now and where we need to go. So yeah, go ahead. That's the aerial. So the roofs we're talking about, specifically the ballasted roofs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. At the front of the school, you have 8. That was an add-on, I think in 17, 18, I believe. I wasn't involved, so I think they just got some prior knowledge from Kelly and the team. And roof 7 as well is a recent update. So those 2 roofs we're not talking about, right? So we're talking about a phase 1 potentially here to start knocking out and updating some of these roofs. Most of these roofs are from 81, all right? So well past the typical lifespan. You guys are really lucky. Although there are some roofs, some sections of roof 2 that were from 68. Now this is knowledge and looking at it from a visual, but then also from Scott, your maintenance gentleman here, who has a really vast knowledge of the age and when most of it was put on, if you will, as far as the additions to the school over time. Go ahead, next one, please. So 6 ballasted EPDM roofs, we're looking at 51,037 square feet. Obviously the 2 fully adhered are 4,270, which are in good shape. All right, next. Just kind of lays it out, just a little report, a little cattywampus at the top, I apologize. Like we said, installed 1981 to 68, those are all your ballasted roofs. A lot of stretching and tenting that's going on, because over time the EPDM roof, that's your cheapest roof you can buy, that over time it's going to shrink. And so you get a lot of pulling at the perimeter edges and all around your penetrations. And as you see, when we bring up the leaks history and recent history of leaks, it's all around penetrations and transitions at walls. And that's what happens with the EPDM membrane. Go next. So there's the leak spots. Here recently, our team came out. Any feedback? I haven't gotten feedback from you yet, which is always good. We fixed this area here along that classroom. There was multiple tiles that were stained by some leaks there as well. Here at the corner, it is not on here, but we had some leaking at the corner here. We found 3 or 4 holes at the corner at the base of roof 5, we call that the parapet wall there. There's where we found some inconsistency in the membrane, those were repaired. And up at the unit there over the gym was a constant leak area. According to Scott, most of the other leaks were under control currently, if you will. So we came out and just made sure that we buttoned that up here last week. So we were able to take care of that. As we discussed, all your transitions, everything's around the penetrations. You got stacks over here on this end. Everywhere you have leaks, there's something on the roof there. And there's a reason, because that membrane is shrinking. It's shrunk over time, right? So it's going to continue to do that. That's what rubber does with expansion and contraction with the weather as well. Next, please. So to do our due diligence, we knew something was coming as far as updating these roofs, so we scanned it. So what the scan does goes all the way down to the deck, and it'll give you the moisture readings on what's in that roof. And we did this 2 years ago, January 2021, I believe. And maybe, yeah, 2021, so not a year and a half ago. So with that being said, it was all dry, completely dry underneath. All the substrate underneath, your insulation and your cover boards underneath were completely dry, all right? So that gives us an opportunity to save all that and recycle that, which is huge, because that's a cost. And we all know what cost and materials are going, and we don't know at the end of that, right? The roofing industry is the same. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But we're able to salvage all that insulation. There's about 3 inches of insulation there. And typically that's gonna cost you about, at the time we first met, it was about $6 per square foot, 5 or 6. It's like 8 or 9 per square foot now to replace insulation. Hopefully we're still dry, right? Indications tell us that we're probably 95% dry or more, right? Because you know over time you might get a little wet insulation that you have to remove, because you don't want to leave it in because it's not good for the health of the building. Next, please. And so that's just the core construction. As we talked about, you have 3 inches. As you can see, those add up to right around 3 inches on the polyiso there. Above the metal deck, but you have a gypsum board, and then you'll have the polyiso, and then the ballasted membrane on top, the roof membrane. So, next. So phase 1, by determination, as you guys saw those leaks, there's a partial roof 1, or a partial roof 2 is part of phase 1, and we'll have that outlined here in a second. And the roof 4 is the new gym floor you just had, right? So when we look at it, when me and Kelly were talking, it's old. The whole building has old roofs, right? So they need to, except for the EPDM roofs, we need to find out where do we need to start. Let's look at the common areas. We want to make sure in all the common areas and in front of the school that we have no leaks. We like no leaks everywhere, but let's update where the high traffic is, and plus a brand new gym floor here in the cafeteria, and like I said, in front of the school. So that's where we determined roof 2, 4, and 5. 2 is a partial, because 2 is pretty large. 2 runs all the way through here and around, and then back all the way to the back here. There are some natural expansions there. They're dividers more than they are expansion joints. So it means expansion goes through the roof, divider just goes to the roof to divide the roofs, right? So there are some natural areas where we can tie in really easy and make it cost effective. And that's when I show you the partial, that's where we stopped. And plus, we wanted to maybe get about 30,000 square foot done. All right, almost half or a little bit more than half. Next. So real quick, I'm sorry, go back. Apologize. So their insulation and cover boards are 100% dry. Typical value right now is about $8 per square foot. By saving that and recycling it, we're able to save about $240,000. It's really significant. All right, really significant. So we did our due diligence on that. Next. So there's the partial 2 outlined. I didn't outline 4 and 5 because it's 4 and 5 as it exists. You can see the natural boundaries. So there's where we decided on roof 2. According to Scott, that 2C is an updated section, means somewhere in the maybe mid-80s to late 80s that was there, and there's no leaks, right? There is that the transition, but that's more coming from the upper. So with that being said, that's where we made the decision. There's a natural divider there, and then we're moving along that side to the other side of the school, and that's kind of the roof 2 partial that we came up with, based upon where the leaks are occurring too as well. Make sense? Any questions on that? All right, next. There's a drawing based on the 2 partial. I don't know why that all, maybe what I say, 19,900 square foot, 7,350 on the 4, roof 4, and then 2,730 on roof 5 for 29,980. All right. Next. So partial replacement, you're looking at, and don't kill me, Kelly, because I know I told you $10 the other day. I'm covering my rear end because of pricing right now. I think we're at 10. I brought a contractor out here, a local contractor with me to confirm some of his pricing as well on the labor side. We're right at 10, maybe 10 and a quarter, all right? But that's why we create a competitive bid situation where everybody's got to be really tight on their numbers, knowing they're competing against somebody else, right? So say partial replacement, meaning maintaining the insulation in that ballast, is about $10 to $11 per square foot. And that's for the key membrane. I'll get into that in a second. Ballasted 30-year warranty versus a 20-year warranty. That's what you're looking at, top end budget for that. And then if you're looking at foam replacement, we weren't able to save everything and we went from scratch, you're looking at $20 per square foot. All right, so essentially what we've done with our due diligence and with the type of membrane we want to put on is you're looking at almost $270,000 of savings versus doing a whole new roof, right? Where typically, sometimes with the ballast roof, some folks want to get rid of a ballast roof. However, in this situation, you paid for that. So at the end of the day, there's different ways to secure a membrane. One is with the ballast, right, with the heavy river rock. Then there's fully adhered, and there's mechanically attached. So obviously, your least expensive version of attaching a membrane is by ballast. And you guys have already paid for that. There's no problem with it. Wind uplift is the same. It's superior to actually mechanically attached and fully adhered. So it's really good as far as from a wind uplift situation. All right, industry trend over the last 18 months, we're seeing not only with Tremco, but all providers across the industry. The manufacturing side is about a 10% increase per quarter on average. That's your Beacon roofing product. Roofing is one of the biggest suppliers with the insulation and other membranes as well in this general area. Next. So there's a budget laid out per roof. I highlighted roof 2, and that's obviously a section of roof 2, right, like we talked about. So I laid it out also. You see 2A, 2B, and 2C, how big 2 was. So I separated those out for future reference, that we still have to tackle 2A, 2B, and 2C. And then you have roof 4 and 5, also that we'll potentially tackle here in the first phase. So looking at the bottom there, the good TPO 20-year, it's a white single-ply membrane, it's a thermoplastic. TPA, so it's the same, and I'll describe the difference. Right now, it's about $8 per square foot for the TPO, and it gives you a 20-year warranty, but it's about 8 to 10 months out, no matter what manufacturer you're talking to. And what happens is, with that 8 to 10 months out, you're not going to pay the price now, you're going to pay the price at shipment. And with pending increases, you're going to get pretty quickly to that $9, right? Eventually here pretty quick, right? So we're talking about potentially securing material here in the next 2 months if we get the process going, if the board approves, right? We need to start updating roofs. So with that being said, the TPA is really similar to TPO, but there's a tri-polymer alloy that was added to the TPA to more pliable and easier to work for the check contractors, and it's more secure around penetrations because of the pliability of that membrane. And that was added, that was created, the TPA membrane, that's a 20-year as well. Also, alongside of it, I have the cost per year based on the 20-year, or at the bottom of the 30-year, what that cost per year breaks out to be. And then the key membrane is similar to the TPA, and that's an abbreviation for the alloy that was added to the TPA. But the key membrane has 50% or more of that product in that membrane. It helps the durability of the membrane as well, the longevity. Obviously, that's why it's a 30-year warranty on that. So there's the different membranes, good, better, best. I think it makes sense. Me and Kelly talked about, in my opinion, you guys are the ones spending the money. At the end of the day, the 30-year makes the most economic sense as far as cost per year, but also the TPA, the 20 years, which is normal in roofing, right? 30 years not normal in roofing, right? Most folks will go for the 20-year, but I think we have an opportunity of recycling everything that was underneath the insulation and gives you guys the opportunity to do a 30-year roof. And so that's why to me, it makes the most sense from an economic standpoint. But I know there's first cost economy involved too, so.
So EPDM material is pretty much obsolete then?
It's not so much obsolete, it's just the cheapest one on the market.
Okay.
Puncture resistance, not even compared to the other two. You're gonna get a lot of punctures over the years, and those some of the issues that Scotty said that they've had was contractors going up there and putting holes in the roof and having leaks, and then around all your penetrations and perimeters, those start shrinking pretty quickly.
At the time all this was done though, previously, it was the only game in town, probably.
It was the most, yes it was, absolutely, yeah.
How similar are these other, is the key?
They won't shrink, so they're thermoplastic, so they're not, there is rubber in there, but they're obviously reinforced with plasticizers as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a superior roof to the EPDM across the industry, and I can send over documents from architects that have done third-party analysis of these roofs as well. But they're a superior roof to the EPDM. Mm-hmm.
Based upon your best judgment, you feel that the insulation is good, and there's quite a cost savings benefit. Knowing that you do this, of course, for a living, what are the chances that you get into it and all of a sudden it's not what you perceive? Is there any is there a minimal chance of that, or when you jump in, all of a sudden you start taking up the roof, and you see, wait a minute, this isn't what we hoped for, is that, what percentage?
There's a chance, right? So the scale was done a year and a half ago, right? So there is definitely a chance, but all indications where the leaks are currently,
Yeah.
they haven't changed.
So they're nominal then?
Yes, it'll be, yes, they haven't, the leak areas haven't changed from a year ago to where they are now. So all indications, in my opinion, it's opinion, right? So I haven't dug in, that's why we did the diagnostics,
Yeah.
to get the facts. If we want to, we could do another, it's gonna be a cost to it, but we can do a more updated one. But typically, as we go to the bid process, all contractors will come in at a price per square foot to replace any wet insulation, right? To answer your question.
And what is your process for being the most competitive? Like, how do you look at the contractors available, and how do you make that assessment that this is the best, most competitive price for the corporation if we were to proceed?
As far as from a labor standpoint,
Just overall.
Overall.
When coming up with those are estimates, I know
Yes.
there's probably a bidding process that Tremco provides, with your contractors you have the best relationships with.
correct.
So what is the normal, how do you vet that to make sure that it's the most competitive price, if I could ask?
Well, just like any process, right? I mean, there's a bidding process to that. It's an open bid process, right? And so what we'll do is put a flyer out, right, from an advertisement standpoint, and then six weeks later, those bids will be due, right, within that 6 weeks. So typically, there's that process, a pre-bid process, that all the contractors will come out at their own will if they want. They can trust what we have as far as the cores that we took and the construction of the roof, but they also have the opportunity to investigate themselves. So that, from a competitive standpoint, if they're coming in, it's an open bid process. It could be 3 to 5, right?
Yeah.
So, and then if there is some contractors that aren't certified that you prefer here at Wanatah, that want to bid, we can get them certified through our systems as well.
Okay.
When you put things out to bid, do you request that they have certain types of experience or a certain number of years of experience?
Yes, that's all ran by the state. All guidelines are by the state of Indiana, that they have to show all their numbers and their years in the industry.
Yeah, that they're a viable company, they're not gonna go under.
Yeah, it's all, yeah, and we can dive into that more too, once you guys make that decision and have a review on that and dig into the weeds on that. But yes, it's a 6-week process from specification written, from, like I said, from the advertisement to the pre-bid, to the bid openings, and having witnesses there in the bid openings as well to make it a fair bid process.
Just out of curiosity, because I'm from other states. In Indiana, if a contractor's under contract and they should go under, what is the process of dealing with that legally to get someone else to come in and complete the contract?
So I think the best way to deal with that is don't bring in that type of contractor. We have plenty of contractors in this area that have long-standing relationships in this area with Corellis, Fabella, Bluth, Malcor, who's actually opened up office here in Northwest Indiana, is avoid down this, not that you don't want to give them the opportunity, but at the same time, you run into what you're exactly talking about, is them going out of business. However, being the manufacturer, they don't hold the warranty. We hold the warranty. So usually the contractor's on the hook for 2 years for that warranty. For the next 28, if we're doing a 30-year, it's one, they say one throat to choke. I like to say one hand to shake. You call me if there's any issues. You call Trimco, the manufacturer, because we have a service division that services all the leaks and anything that happens here based upon.
It's comforting.
Yes. That's one of the biggest values that a manufacturer brings to the table. Most manufacturers don't go to market like us because they don't have a technical service division. We have a technical service division to service all our warranties, where most manufacturers rely on boots on the ground contractors in the area. So that's a great question.
Thank you for clarification.
As a school corporation, for certain the last 10 years as a Tri-Township, and then prior to that, even 5 years prior, we've always budgeted for an emergency allocation, knowing that at some point there'd be a reckoning on a roof. It's just something that we know the age for a long time now. You did a presentation roughly like a year and a half ago, not you, but Tremco had. And at that point in time, we thought we were in a good position where this wasn't anything that immediately had to happen. It was something that we could table for a later time, which today is that day. But what do you think the biggest impact is, like in the last 12 months? If you look at the previous report, why it looks different today than it did roughly a year and a half ago when we were presented to.
No, it's a great question, absolutely. I think more than anything, it's you're on borrowed time. I think I've said that the day I was here in April.
Yeah.
You're on borrowed time and it just continues to shrink. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, the levee breaks and all of a sudden you have to replace a lot of insulation, to your question earlier. When does that day come? I'm not Nostradamus, right? So at the end of the day, we're at the mercy of Mother Nature and this membrane giving way, right? Because it's 40 years old. And I'll be honest, in the industry, I've never seen a ballasted EPDM membrane last this long. And I believe, I did my research, you're at Signature Graphics, correct? I'm working with Mark Smith right now. And then you have a ballasted rubber roof there that's at its last leg, and it's the same story. It's like, let's scan this to see how wet it is, and see if we have an opportunity to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of ironic that the same thing's happening. It's kind of funny. But no, it's a great question. It's a guess, it's an opinion, but 40 years plus.
So things have just escalated since the last time you spoke to the board, since things are happening over the period of time that we.
Yeah, more ceiling tiles are getting wet, because I've come indoors with Scott and with Kelly, and this last time there's significantly more ceiling tiles wet, so.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I should ask, since you do have a technical division, that means if there is something wet, if it's not just the insulation, just like with a home, if any of the beams are, that you guys are in a position to take care of that, or your subs are.
Yeah, so I think with the beam, now you're talking engineers and those type of things, so that's not my wheelhouse, right? When you start getting into the
But I mean,
integrity
you have
beams,
a way to help mitigate that.
correct. So I think the biggest thing is knowing that there is going to, so talking with Russell, who owns Gluck Brothers, and Corellis as well, they're hearing a lot of noise on their end with the other materials that maybe are Tremco materials. They're thinking there's going to be a October uppage in price. And then I know for Tremco, we're going up in November, a certain percentage. So just, you're never going to avoid all of it. We all know that right now. We're in that realm right now. But the more you can avoid with the price hikes, the better position you're going to be in. And we and Kelly had talked. I think it's prudent to start the process. You get to the end of the process. You don't have to award. You can wait to award to the spring, but just see where we're at and see what we get. And then we can reconvene, and something else can happen organically too within that, whether it be getting the material or whatever it may be we had talked about. But I think it's prudent to start that process sooner rather than later.
What happened, you don't have your own in-house installation, you rely on the outside
Correct.
contractors.
Yeah.
How do you know, how's it happen, you do that?
Yeah, so we can, and on the restoration side, I don't know if you remember last time I talked, we do restorations too. So your gym roof over at the other facility, that would be a perfect restoration without fluid applied over the top. So our bench isn't deep enough to do tear-offs and replaces. So this is more in that category of a partial replacement, almost tear-off, where we don't have the bench to do that as far as the personnel, but on a restoration we would. It's a little bit less manual labor, if you will. Yep.
How wide are the strips? And this isn't one like huge, all one piece membrane.
No, so 10 foot.
10 foot.
Yeah, 10 foot wide, yeah, yeah. So you'd strip in over time, move the rock, avoid point loading, and then be able to strip in the membrane as you go, maintaining the rock. It'll all be in the specification too as well, the details on that for all the contractors. I appreciate your time. If there's not any other questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you today. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.
You too.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
to expedite that.
But the longer we wait, the more leaks, the more damage is being done. I mean, it's, you know, sooner than later.
Get it.
So that was for information tonight, and we know we have a time frame prior to next month to have come back, we'll make a decision that night. So tonight we'll move on, unless there's any other comments on that item. Okay. Number 8, our kitchen equipment, looking for approval.
I do, I mean.
Yeah, go ahead.
We chose to just give approval to get work done. I mean, at that point, we just want to do that.
That's completely, yeah, I mean, that's
I know, I'm just asking, I'm not saying
within your scope to do that. So I would get to discuss.
I mean, at this point, if it's leaking in certain spots, and, I mean, it's getting to the point where we need to replace it, we might as well get the ball rolling to start doing pricing to see where we're at, time frame, contractor-wise, you know, how long it's gonna take to do it, at what point are we going to have them do it, whether it's, you know, spring break time, or it's next summer break, or whatever, to lock in a price before you risk any more price increases with materials. So what are the next steps that normally would occur with Tri-Town? What are the, if based on the next board approval, when that takes place, what do they need for, require from us to start?
Yeah, so it would be just a motion, a board vote, and we can initiate. Todd then would walk us through the process, very similar to what PSI did for us through this building project. He would take care of stepping us through the bid process, and creating the scope, you know, and telling these contractors, here's what our plan is. If we wanted to go with what he's terming phase 1, which is a large area of roof 2.
We have that money in rate of day right now to pay for that,
Yep.
it needs taken care of.
I just feel like we're living on borrowed time and.
Just, I make a motion to start the process.
The only question I had, I mean, you think anybody else would be that much better value for the dollar? I don't know. I don't know who the other players or the games in town are versus Trimco, but
Well, again, you know, the way I look at it is, they're creating the bid process and bringing
okay, I see.
3 to 5.
If using their material,
Roof.
they're gonna bid the labor out to like
Yeah.
Bluth, like you said, and whoever gets the lowest bid is gonna end up doing the labor.
And I guess that's kind of where I'm
I
coming from.
feel like, I mean, if you don't have a roof, you don't have the school. I mean, I think
Right.
I would second the motion.
But,
Aaron?
yeah.
What's that, ma'am?
I said, would you let your home go?
No.
If you could afford it?
No, I don't know.
Well, like, you know, a year and a half ago, the condition he felt was dry. If we keep waiting and these leaks start
It's
getting
gonna get
worse,
more and more.
the cost is gonna cost the corporation more money to remediate, you know, any damage that's underneath the roofing material, and so the cost is gonna go
If
up.
starts to get compromised, then we're really talking money. So I
You know,
think-
and so if we keep kicking the can down the road every month, I mean, I'm not opposed to at least initiating the process, you know.
And he did make it clear, if, at the end of that process, if we're not comfortable, we've committed nothing.
So there's no risk for approving the set continue evaluation and
And to start that process.
then I would agree with the rest of it, as long as there's no immediate commitment.
Hello.
It's too good. Before the speech.
No, yeah, well, I mean, we all know that in this world, every month costs are rising.
Staggering.
And not only if that starts leaking and the insulation gets wet,
And then
then
the
Prices
cost is
go up,
double,
yeah.
you're doubling the cost, so now you're at
Motion from Aaron,
$700,000.
second from Darren.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
All right, I will follow up with Todd tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank
We've
you.
done, kicked the can long enough.
In full agreement.
Yeah, your others.
On to item 8, our, Annette and I have whittled down to what the needs are in the kitchen, what items throughout the summer here, she's put a lot of time in assessing what works, what doesn't. And we've come to an expenditure for an electric combination oven, that oven steamer, a heated holding cabinet, and a reach-in freezer, all installed at a total price of $41,621.22. Seeking approval.
Motion to approve. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
That's a
approved.
lot less than the total,
Yeah, that's
all of the items that he gave bids on.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Like,
Yes,
like 40% of that, if I remember right.
that's right.
Can I ask a question or should I wait? The main kitchen at La Crosse, are you guys going to be selling the equipment there or?
What I
being able to
envision,
reuse some of it or what's
Yeah.
happening with that?
we weren't able to reuse any of that down here because the equipment is gas.
Oh,
And this kitchen is electric. I would anticipate at some point in our future, a large auction for a lot of those types of items. There is nice usable equipment down there. We're pretty much out of space here for her to bring anything else down at the moment. And with this purchase, we'll have what we need. So those things will remain stored there until we're set and ready for an auction.
Have you determined like if it's gonna come out of which fund for the equipment? Is it gonna be any partition from the school?
From the kitchen fund.
Kitchen fund?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we're right around 150,000 there. And I've been able to kick that can down the road as far as not spending it. And the states let us get away with it until we were in the space that needed updated. And so that should get us back in compliance with our kitchen fund as well. On to number 9, the Steiner sign purchase, again for the new entryway building letters, signage front and back, and some various print graphics for the gym, and approval price at $9,581.67.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Number 10, gym floor updates, both are done, both look fantastic. Foster Flooring did an excellent job. You guys will really be impressed when you get to see the Tiger Dip. I know you've seen this one, the parquet floor looks even more amazing.
Does it really?
Yeah, it's sweet. Number 11, with Chad's help, I was able to get the playground mulch. We've gone to all rubber mulch, 4 inches deep per code, black colored out there. It looks really nice. Thanks to John's Garage and Chad for helping get that done. But official approval, those came in 2,000-pound like Tyvek bags. And we got those installed. The total price to cover that area was $18,900. Approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Thank you. And then next, number 12, on our update and beautification process here that we're trying to accomplish. On the outside of the building, the brown metal facade that has been rusting in some spots, peeling in a lot of spots. With Tim's help on that one from Signature Graphics, with some very generous donations from Signature, we've got the front done today. You may have noticed it's a vinyl covering that we feel like is going to buy us 10 years of continued use with that metal versus what a replacement would have been over $100,000 that we weren't comfortable in the budget currently for that. So we think that's money well spent at $22,312.50. Again, thanks to the mitigation of cost with Tim's company providing a donation of the material.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. You. Hey, Kelly, was that much rubber?
Yeah.
Yes.
Would it be multiple? Okay, good.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the.
Darren Brewer.
Second.
All in favor? I am abstaining. There's no, none of this is billed to Signature Graphics. We're providing vinyl installations and outside resource, so no affiliation with Tim Boothers in Inter Rapids.
Thank you for clarifying that. Brian, what do you want to add here at this crazy juncture of our lives?
Back to school night, Thursday night, so we have some things planned, just not kids walking into school and going to the classroom, but we have some other things planned outside and when they walk in and it's open, not just to the parents and kids, but we want to open up to everybody too, because I know people are itching to get inside and see what it looks like. And just a thanks again, I think I said it last month, but to our custodians. There's no way I would have been sitting in this seat last Thursday, or last Tuesday. I mean, this room was completely full, and in over a week, they've gotten it done, so. Every day they're tackling something, and so they've really tried to get everything updated and everything cleaned and moved different teachers in different spots. I think I've moved the speech teacher 3 times in the last 2 weeks. And they're just always smiling on their face. So teachers have been in, so that's been nice. They're always smiling, they're ready to go. So I think just everyone's really ready for next Monday to come. I think there's a lot of excitement building for it, so. That's all I got.
I will add to that, I couldn't be more excited. Now, I know I say it every year, but I really like our new people. I like our new faces. I like the energy that Brian's had a really good summer with tracking down new people in a very tough teacher-employee environment. So we got high expectations, but a lot of excitement, a lot of our new folks. Kudos for some summer help. We got some great kids that found out we got at least a few that work hard. A couple of Furnish boys and Blaine Rust have really provided us a lot of help. So they've got some hard work to them. Thanks there. Scott has done a great job bouncing out, keeping the mowing going and back inside. There's just so much to be excited and positive about with this school corporation. And I am very proud to be part of it and work with people here to bring some really nice opportunities for our kids. Last thing, bus drivers have done a fantastic job too. We are way ahead of where we normally are, reaching out and coordinating pickup times with parents. So that's the last thing I have.
Motion adjourned.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for everyone's attendance. Next meeting, September 13th. At 6 o'clock.